Tonight, on the Atomic Power Racing Hour, we are once again north of the border in Canada, this time at the Cornwall Motor Speedway, where the best of the Go Nuclear Late Model Series invades the tiny high-banked oval in pursuit of capturing this inaugural event, as well as some amazing poutine. For a number of racers, they are in competition on this quarter mile for the first time, and while some teams have remained focused on the series championship, they all have their eyes on the prize of claiming this inaugural event. The racing fires up next on the Atomic Power Racing Hour. Hello and welcome to the Atomic Power Racing Hour. We are north of the border again today for race number 3 at Cornwall Motor Speedway in Ontario, Canada. Doug Elkinson, Rich Vleck, you'll meet the third member of our team here in just a moment. But a lot of new here today at Cornwall, Rich.
Well, this is the first time a crate late model race has ever been contested on the speedway, so that's new. A lot of drivers that have never seen this racetrack before. That's new. And we're getting to that eastern edge of the tour. Nobody's coming from east to get here. Everybody's traveling up from the south or from the west. And we still got a pretty good car count on what is a beautiful day.
A lot of drivers have described this track, because it is one of the more unique ones around, as running on the lip of a cereal bowl. So to find out more about this very unique quarter-mile track, let's check in with the third member of our team, Paul Small.
Thanks, guys. This is going to be a unique experience for the drivers on the Go Nuclear Late Model Series tonight. They've never really seen a racetrack quite like this one at Cornwall Motor Speedway. Why? Well, number one, you never really straighten the car out here. You can see this is the front straightaway. There's really nothing straight about it. This is a short quarter mile with a good amount of banking. Things will happen here in a hurry. To put that in context, our first show of the year from Utica Rome lap times were 23 to 24 seconds. At Humberstone, they were 16 to 18 seconds. Here, an entire lap takes about 13 or 14 seconds. Things will definitely happen in a hurry, and it's bound to catch some drivers off guard tonight.
This is race number 3 of the Go Nuclear Late Model Series for the 2014 season. The one constant we've noticed this year, big car counts and some big racing action on the track.
Yeah, and the first two times we had an event, again, Utica Rome Speedway, everybody kind of knows that track from being around Central New York. We had the group that knew the Humberstone Speedway, but we saw some different guys go to victory lane. Mm-hmm. We saw Tim Sears win at Utica Rome, and then his win later DQ'd, so Charlie Sandercock got the win, and John Waters, an impressive victory, scoring the win at Humberstone. First year in a crate, he's doing a great job. So it's not the Dale Caswells and Rick Millers that we've seen in victory lane, but tonight could be the night for them.
So let's look back at the first 2 races and see how we've gotten to this point in the season on the Go Nuclear Late Model Series.
And Waters has made a move to the inside of his little brother for the race lead. Kyle Sopas, the lap car in front of him. Waters sticks it down on the inside, and that's one of those deals with racers, Doug, that I never understand. They can run down somebody when they're being run down. Oh, but Sopas slows down on the bottom, and Waters is getting shuffled out of the deck.
Oh, and he's gone back to 4th, making 5th place now as Sandercock and Caswell get by. Tough deal there with the lap car.
Wow, Waters had just reeled in his brother to get the lead back, and now is back to 5th and has lost a ton of ground. And here goes Sears for the race lead down on the inside.
There he goes, down to the bottom. We're just about to halfway, almost working lap 14. You see he hit that little browner clay out of the inside, and that might have gotten him the lead.
Burps out of the throttle a little bit, just kind of stays easy off of it, stands back on the gas, and he will have his 3rd career Go Nuclear Late Model Series win.
You can see there's the leader, Ruhlman, up to the top side. Waters, he's been working the bottom. He's going to try him in turn number 3. He may have him. Now Ruhlman gets back on the gas.
You see how early the 11 of Waters set the brakes and really made his mark for the corner, and he'll lead that lap at the line.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You run the bottom, you got to slow down a little earlier. Ruhlman gets back in the gas quicker, using that outside, but Waters may have the spot.
And Waters really could get it off at turn number 2 there, because you heard some of the drivers talking are open, and up over the berm goes the machine of Chad Ruhlman. John Waters, he won his first ever crate late model race at the Little Valley Speedway a week ago. He's got his first career Go Nuclear Late Model Tour win here at Humberstone.
Cars are on the track now for hot laps, including Phil Potts, who we spoke to earlier about the keys to attacking Cornwall.
Smart. It's going to be dry and slick. I think the guy can keep his brain about him, which sometimes I'm not very good at. That'll be that, and try to keep fenders on it. But it'll be dry and slick on the bottom, real gentle on the gas.
While Phil has experience at Cornwall, this is a new track for Rick Miller, but he's not the only one, as he spoke earlier about the influx of new frontrunners on the series in 2014.
Well, the competition has been awesome. I mean, it's been phenomenal. You've got so many good drivers, and the more are coming in with the Waters boys and the Knowles, how they've committed, and also, juniors, Tim Sears Jr. So, I mean, you're going to see some good racing.
And here is one of the newcomers, Jason Knowles, who made the long tow up to Cornwall today and has an interesting theory on what it will take to win.
Luck. It's probably starting up front, getting a good draw, getting a good heat race in, and a good draw for the feature, and starting up front.
Starting position is likely to be critical with the track so fast and tacky right now. Right behind Knowles, it's modified veteran Stefan LaFrance, who is piloting Phil Pott's backup car tonight as he pulls double duty. His first competitive laps in the late model will take place in the heat race action, which is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
If you want to get closer to the racing action, your chance is coming. It's the first ever Atomic Triple Crown, bringing late model sprints and sportsmen together. September 27th at Rolling Wheels Raceway. The Go Nuclear late models compete on the fast track for the first time ever, gunning for the $2,000 top prize, along with super tight sportsman action. And the Empire Super Sprints will crown their 2014 series champion. Late model sprints and sportsmen, all together for one night this fall. See you at Rolling Wheels.
If you care about quality, service, or pride of ownership, it's time to call Tenachi AV. Tenachi AV provides music and theater systems for the home that defy expectations and are a clear cut above those found in the mass market stores, including handcrafted opera loudspeakers, Unison research amplification from Italy, Integra home theater, and many more. Discover the difference at tenachiav.com. or visit us on Facebook.
The Go Nuclear Late Model Challenge Series is presented by Excel Tower Service, Atomic Chassis, Humber Nurseries, Gandrud Chevrolet, Grills and Ovens, Insinger Performance, Kaiser Wheels, Schaefer's Oil, BA Custom Headers, Finish Line Web Design, and Tenace Diversified.
Welcome back to the Atomic Power Racing Hour, coming to you from the Cornwall Motor Speedway in Eastern Ontario. We mentioned earlier how this is the first trip for the Go Nuclear late models at this tight racetrack, so many of the drivers are here for the first time, including two-time series champion Dale Caswell, who our Paul Small spoke with earlier.
Tell me how you prepared for this race today.
We were a little unsure. I've never been here. I actually had to watch some video online before we got here to see. It's a real small track, so we're trying to make some last-minute changes. And
you said to me, the first thing you said is, wow, this place is small. You ever run on anything this tight?
This is going to be the smallest I've ever ran. I don't even think there's a straightaway. It's like a straight circle. It's a small track.
It is a small track, and we'll see how it races first of two qualifying heats. Rich, how's it going to work today?
8 laps, which should be under a 2-minute race for some of the leaders if it goes green to checkered. As always, the open draw, and with the track so tacky right now, very critical to be out in front. And some of the drivers that have made a long trip to get here are indeed going to have some work to do just to get to the front.
All right, so we'll see how this all shakes out. They drew for starting spot in the pit area. Let's look out the back of Charlie Sandercock's number 57, one of the strong runners on the series. Matter of fact, he won the opener at Utica Rome, and the green flag comes out.
And again, drivers working to the front, and they know it's not going to take long for this field to stretch out a little bit. Sandercock out in front. First-timer Zeke McEwen, first time for him in a Go Nuclear late model series race, is up into second.
And look at the 129 there, doing a good job as well. Stefan LaFrance looks pretty good as we watch the battle for 5th and 6th.
And Tim Sears Jr., one of the late arrivals to the Speedway this afternoon, had the initial win at the Utica Rome Speedway taken away off a disqualification, but his car is fast. He wins almost every race in Central New York, including a few days ago at the Brewerton Speedway. Battle on, though, for the number 2 spot.
Dustin Waters goes to the inside, picks up second. Now he'll look for the number 2 spot as they come out of 4, and he'll have an aggressive pass on the inside.
Yeah, not sure how McEwen in the 97 liked that totally, but now he's going to get more company. Tim Sears Jr., the 83X, looks to the bottom. there is driver that is currently second in modified points, Stefan LaFrance in the yellow 29, but Dale Caswell company to the inside for fifth.
Yeah, and Caswell, like we said, he's a two-time defending series champ. Oh, in trouble, and lots of cars involved here as Stefan LaFrance and McEwen get in. Waters is in, the 88 of Caswell involved, a whole bunch of folks here in a big crash here in the qualifying heat.
Dustin Waters, who had just gotten up to second place, comes around, and just about everybody involved. I see Rick Miller able to drive through. The 57 of Charlie Sandercock, really the only one that had no issue in that spin. See LaFrance and Tenay starting to pull away, and we'll take a look here on the replay.
And it looks like Waters might have just lost it on his own there.
Yeah, I don't think he was aided around in that spin. You see McEwen get turned and then launched after LaFrance got into him. Hard contact for Sears on the bottom. You see rookie Brett Belden spun around. Some of the drivers just slamming on the binders. Our turn 3 look. McEwen got some serious airtime.
He was all four wheels were off the ground there for a moment. Serious contact. Let's see what Charlie Sandercock, again, he's in front of this, so it's all going to happen behind him. And
there it was. He went around on his own.
Yeah, all by himself, and there's the car. I can just imagine what he must feel like right now as he's getting towed back to the pit area. Let's see you. Well, McEwen's still going. I'm a little surprised about that.
And actually, you take a look at the drivers in the crash. 8 out of the 10 officially caught up in it. The 33X of Rick Miller drove by, but since that lap wasn't completed, and McEwen is going to restart this, it looks like in second after getting airborne. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and again, I'm just surprised that he's even out there when you get right down to it. I mean, that was a hard hit. The car was in the air. I guarantee you some suspension parts are moved around a little bit there, and wow, what a way to start this night here at Cornwall.
Certainly not the way these drivers wanted it to go. We saw Waters go back on the hook. Also driving into the pits was Tim Sears and Stefan LaFrance. So some of the big names knocked out as we get ready to go back to green. 4 down, 4 to go.
And I know a lot of the regulars were hoping to see what Stefan LaFrance do, one of the regular runners here in a modified, but hopefully he'll be able to make it back and get it started. This is we go back to green halfway home here in the first qualifier.
4 down, 4 to go, and the top 4 make the redraw. So critical spots up for grabs. Look at McEwen going to the inside. Caswell shut down. Maybe an issue on the defending champions 88.
And McEwen, no issue there with that car. That's what it looked like. It took the hardest lick there. Caswell's in a position right now. He's in the show right now, running in 4th. But here comes Brett Belden and Shane Tenace right there in the 98.
Yeah, these drivers all stuck together for the final redraw spot. It looks like Caswell's car just can't get the drive off the corner. So there might still be some remnants from that wreck. Tenace in the white 98 down to the inside. Now Shane lives in central New York but grew up in the north country of New York. Cornwall Motor Speedway was his first racetrack he ever attended, so he really wants to do well tonight. Muscles Belden out of the way as Miller and Caswell duke it out for 3rd.
And out front, no problems for Charlie Sandercock. Missed the wreck. His car is perfect now as it comes off of turn number 4. He should get the win, and there it is, the win in the first qualifier.
And McEwen able to hold on for 2nd. Miller and Caswell make it into the redraw. Tenace, Belden, and Sopaz, the 3 remaining cars that were able to finish this first qualifier.
And a wild qualifying race it was to get things started here at Cornwall Motor Speedway. We've got another exciting qualifying race to go. You're watching the Atomic Power Racing Hour. Heat race number 2 is now on the track. We can only hope this qualifier has less carnage than the first one. Drivers have traveled from all over to be here tonight, but that's not the case for outside pole sitter Adam Turner in the 92, who used to run weekly at the track before moving to the late models 3 years ago. He spoke to our Paul Small earlier about his past.
Tell me about your history of racing here. Some of the guys think you may have more experience here than the rest of pit road.
I've raced here with a street stock in the past and a sportsman in a 358 car. So I probably have more than some, but I think these cars are way different than running it in anything else. So I think my experience probably isn't going to be much an advantage today.
Well, we'll have to see if he's right about that or not, Rich.
I would have to think it does, though. You know how to get around this racetrack. You know how it changes a little bit. I mean, you look at the guy on the inside of him on the pole, Brian Knowles. He and his brother Jason, you see his onboard. They drove up yesterday afternoon, camped over to get here because the drive was so long. They didn't want to make the morning drive all the way from the southern tier of New York to basically the eastern end of Ontario. You really couldn't go much more east than this. Another good field set to go for this one, and as we said, Pork Chop Brian Knowles on the pole position, Adam Turner to the outside.
Yeah, we'll find out. Kaylee Weiss, of course, she runs here on occasion as well. Johnny Hill and Sean Beardsley, a couple guys from Central New York, made their way up.
And then you got Phil Potts, Brian Down, and Greg Bellier, 3 Canadians that normally run at the Brighton Speedway, traveling up the 401 to be here. They've been here in the past. We'll see if they can get up through the field, because remember, only the top 4 make the redraw. That's the goal in this 8-lap event.
And you saw that 29 again. That's not Stefan LaFrance that time. That is Phil Potts. So here we go on racing here in first lap of qualifying heat race number 2.
And to the inside, Brian Knowles unable to get the lead back from Adam Turner. Turner was able to really use that momentum. A little bit of contact further back. Kaylee Weiss gets together. Johnny Hill and Potts gets slowed up as he is wiggling back to 8th place here on the opening circuit.
Tough break for him. Surprised Kaylee Weiss kept going there. Looked like she had some problem. And here are the Knowles boys getting ready to battle for the number 2 spot.
So you got Pork Chop in the number 7. That's Brian. And right behind him, that's the Jet, Jason, in the number 4. Both of them second-generation drivers. Their dad, Larry, ran late models and pro trucks, pro stocks, all sorts of different vehicles over the years. And now here they are battling for the 2 and 3 spot. Not a huge position up for grabs, but you know there's a lot of bragging rights.
Yeah, anytime you get to race with your brother, I mean, that's why you follow the same series that your brother does, so you can get in there and have some fun. And it keeps looking like Jason's going to be able to make that bottom work, but you can see on the outside, Brian's able to pick up his right foot a little quicker, although they both kind of bobbled a little bit that time.
Well, the lane is certainly narrow right now, Doug. Everybody's, you see the 7 kind of pitched in the middle of the racetrack. This is not a very big racetrack. There's not a corner true to drive off onto the straightaway to make those passes. With it being so round, if you could stick it in the middle, you got to make work tough, and you might have to move somebody out of the way. And why would 2 brothers that came all the way up here want to do that? They did come in separate haulers, so that's a little bit different of a story, but they do camp under the same tent.
There's 4th place. That's key because that's the final redraw spot. Right now, Johnny Hill is in that position, but I just can't take my eyes off this battle for second.
It is so, you wonder
if
ever had battles like this back at home growing up. Jason back down to the bottom, might have him this time off the corner, but this is all being owned by Adam Turner. 2nd race in a row, he's going to have a heat race win on the Go Nuclear Late Model Tour.
Maybe experience did matter this time. He gets the win. Here's the battle for second. Oh, Brian edges Jason by just a little bit. Johnny Hill gets the final transfer spot.
And some big names that will not make the redraw. Sean Beardsley, Phil Potts, Greg Bellier, Kelly Weiss, along with Brian Down. They will start straight up for the A.
And, of course, tech is a big thing, especially with crate engines. We had a chance to check with the drivers and get their thoughts about the increased tech.
I believe with the crate stuff, you really got to tech it hard and make sure everybody's on that same playing field. You know, that's what crate racing is about.
You know, when you get into crate racing, you know, you have to really maintain the tech. Otherwise, you know, it'll turn into, you know, almost like an open racing, and then it, you know, just gets too costly.
They're checking over everything after the races, really, and I like it. I like the fact there's supposed to be a GM crate class full speed driver, not so much the motor. So I like the fact they're checking over the cars real strictly now.
From motors to tires to who knows what's going to be next, and it shows that they really want to keep everything fair and everything under control with the series, and I think they're doing a good job.
It's racing. People are going to try to gain an advantage somehow, some way, and you got to have some strict tech, checking everybody and making sure everybody's on the same playing field.
It makes it a lot easier because you can worry about what your car is doing, and you don't have to worry about what everybody else has or don't have, because we've done a good job of keeping up and keeping people honest.
Well, increased tech has certainly been noticed this season, and with the series bringing in new equipment all the time, the drivers never know what will be teched next. You heard Phil Potts say he likes it, and while he appears to be in good spirits after running 6th in the heat, he will have to come from deep in the back in the 35-lap feature, which is coming up next on the Atomic Power Racing Hour.
Electricity. You flip a switch, the lights go on. But will we have safe supplies of electricity to meet our fast-growing needs? Today, nuclear energy provides 1/5 of America's electricity. Tomorrow, it could supply even more. And nuclear power plants don't emit greenhouse gases, so they preserve our environment. We need to reduce our dependence on foreign energy. And we also need clean air. With nuclear energy, we can do both. Nuclear, putting clean air energy to work.
Planning a trip to Victory Lane? Let Atomic Chassis get you there. Atomic Chassis are built with a high attention to detail using superior parts from trusted manufacturers such as PPM, Winters, Bernheisel, Bilstein, All-Star Performance, Vulcan, and many more. With superior craftsmanship and materials, you know Atomic will last. And since each customer becomes a part of our family, you aren't treated like just another number. So visit atomicchassis.com today to plan your next trip to Victory Lane.
Want to win an onboard camera? How about a brand new tablet? Just visit the Go Nuclear Late Model Series Facebook page and find out how. While you're there, check out the upcoming schedule, the new line of merchandise, and much more. Just visit facebook.com/Go Nuclear Late Model Series.
This segment of the Atomic Power Racing Hour is presented by Dirt Track Digest. DTD is the most popular forum for dirt track racing in the Northeast. To get involved in the conversation, visit DirtTrackDigest.com.
It is intermission time here at the Cornwall Motor Speedway, which is anything but a break for the half dozen teams that were caught up in this crash in heat number 1. Tim Sears in the 83X is the one that suffered the worst, as a bent frame has forced the two-time series winner to load up and head back to Central New York. Brett Belden's team has made the necessary repairs and is concentrating on lighter details, while Dustin Waters still has plenty of work to do. Let's send it down to Paul Small, who is in the 14 pit.
Well, after heavy damage in the heat race, this is what's left of the front end of the Dustin Waters car here in the pit area as he and the crew are thrashing. Dustin, I guess the first question is, can you repair this thing and get it out there for the feature?
I don't think it's repairable to finish the feature, to actual run competitive, but we're going to try getting it going to go out there and make a couple laps and getting our to get our money to start the race. And kind of sucks. Had a good run, I think. We had a good car. Entered one, and it was a little slicker than what I expected, and just kind of came around on me. And long haul for that. I guess that's racing.
It was certainly a long tow for Dusty, who was the last driver to roll in the pits this evening after driving all afternoon to be here. As he and the crew work to repair the 14, let's hear from the heat race winners, including Charlie Sandercock, the one driver in heat race 1 that avoided the melee. He spoke with Paul a moment ago.
Well, there was chaos in the first heat. It all happened behind you. Tell me about your race.
I think we just got the luck of the draw in that one. We started on the pole, outside pole, and we were able to get a jump out to the lead, and we kind of stayed there for the heat and picked up the win. And I don't know what happened behind us. I know I come around after the caution was out and there was cars everywhere. So it sucks for those guys that made the long haul up here to Cornwall to run a couple laps in the heat race. And there's a few good cars going home after the heat race, and it kind of sucks.
And the first thing you did when you came back to the pit area, you went and got a different American Racer tire. What corner?
For the right rear, we had a soft and hard for tonight, and our soft is kind of used up. So we just want to get another tire just as a backup, just to see what the track's going to do here in the next few minutes to decide which tire we're going to go with.
It seemed to go pretty smooth, really. I got a good start, and the outside stuck good enough to get by the 7 car, and I dropped to the bottom, and I figured he was going to be right there, but the guys told me I had a pretty good cushion, so that feels good.
Now, speaking of cushion, it looks like the track's developed a pretty good one. How is that going to hold up in the feature?
I think the outside, I ran the bottom in the heat, but I think the outside is going to be the way to go in the feature, because the bottom was good and tacky right now, but I think I'm not sure when our feature is, but if we're after the modifieds, they'll probably blow off the bottom pretty good, and you'll want to be up near around the top, I think, to be fast.
You've heard from our heat winners here tonight at Cornwall Motor Speedway, but in the redraw for starting positions in tonight's feature event, they drew 2 and 3, and this guy, Brian Knowles, drew the number 1. So how do you feel about starting on the pole tonight?
I'm going to be honest, it's been so long. I haven't drawn number 1 or number 10 even. It was a good night for John. I'm excited. It's where you got to be. Tight track like that, you got to get out front, and hopefully we'll run away a little bit. Made some changes, and we'll see what happens.
That was some great heat racing with you and your brother going at it there, man.
Well, I was far enough behind. I'm like, I'm qualified. Let's not destroy this thing. Then I saw his nose, and I'm like, okay, now we got to push it a little bit more and a little bit more. So, yeah, I'm glad he didn't pass me, and then it wouldn't have been such a great heat race. But, yeah, he was definitely, we're trying to see what these things got.
Well, the 14 car hardly looks like a late model anymore, but it appears that Dustin Waters will be able to at least turn a lap and gain some valuable championship points. The 35-lap feature is coming up next. Don't go anywhere. The Go Nuclear late models are rolling onto the speedway for the first 35-lap feature in series history here at the Cornwall Motor Speedway. The track has been a guessing game for many teams all night, so just before the cars took to the tricky quarter-mile track, the birthday boy, Paul Small, took one last look at the racing surface before they go green.
Track conditions for tonight's Go Nuclear Late Model Series event here at Cornwall Motor Speedway could be summed up by paraphrasing a Charles Dickens literary title, A Tale of Two Grooves. The bottom groove of the racetrack here has plenty of bite. It's still plenty sticky. The middle groove, this is kind of no man's land. This was the fast lane during the heat races, but the cushion has been pushed up the racetrack. And what a cushion it is. This ridge of loose, wet clay up at the top of the racetrack, if you can plant your right rear on it, you can get a killer launch coming off of the corner. So one of two things is going to happen during tonight's feature event. You're either going to be hugging the hub or pushing the cushion. My guess is if you push the cushion, you might push your car to victory lane.
Boy, and I got to tell you, we had a chance to look at that cushion a little closer there, Rich. That's not a very even cushion, very uneven. You can see it's tacky, but very uneven.
You know, this track is interesting. Here's the 3-wide salute. And
normally it's 4.
Well, the track's a little narrow tonight, so they said, you know what, it might look a little bit better if they go 3 abreast. And some of these drivers definitely appreciate it. First time here for the Go Nuclear late models, or any crate late model for that matter, at the Cornwall Motor Speedway. They don't see these cars more than this once a year, so a real treat for the fans on hand tonight.
Well, here's take a look at the field. 35 laps is going to be the distance here. 18 cars will get the green flag. Remember, caution laps do not count. And the Delaware double file, we got a chance to see that on one of the heat races. Basically, the leader starts in the front row by themselves.
And a lot of people up front certainly like that. You know, this field has been downsized just a little bit. We don't have the 83X of Tim Sears Jr. out on the field. We mentioned that earlier. We talked about how Dustin Waters is out there. Stefan LaFrance, same deal. But I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to put in, as their cars were definitely damaged in that Heat 1 incident.
And then you have to wonder, there might be a couple of other drivers out there we don't know necessarily about, whose cars might not be quite right. They're just going to try to get themselves a good finish here today at Cornwall. Race number 3 on the Go Nuclear Late Model Series this year. Here's how they're going to line up.
And we talked to Brian Knowles earlier about drawing the pole position, but you look right around him, and there are some big names that know how to go fast around this speedway. We talked about Adam Turner winning his heat race earlier. Charlie Sandercock starts in the 3rd position. And you can never count out a driver like Dale Caswell, even though it's his first time here. He goes away from starting spot number 5 in search of his first win of 2014 anywhere.
Yeah, and he's used to the short tracks of Central New York, but this one a little bit shorter even than the ones that you'll see in the Central New York region. There's a look out the front, the in-signal performance car, Jason Knowles. Good starting spot for him, and the green flag is out.
And they race it down into turn number 1. Up on the top side, Adam Turner trying to get the bite. Looks like he'll be able to take the lead as they all duke it out for their spots on the opening lap.
Caswell and Knowles, the 4. That's Jason Knowles that was on the outside of him, as Adam Turner is out in front and leading.
And side by side all the way through this pack. We talked earlier, and you saw Paul say in the open about how the racetrack really has 2 grooves, where in the heat race, everybody was in the middle, and that was such a dominant groove. Now, top, bottom, and maybe a little bit of middle, almost 3 wide off of turn number 4.
And what a surprise, Dale Caswell at the bottom, as he normally is. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for the lead. Turner is in the 92, he's on the bottom, and that's Rick Miller on the outside, the 33.
How about Rapid Rick? Started in 4th, going for the race lead. It looks like he has the lead at the line. And Adam Turner, one of the local favorites, may be done in by a driver in Rick Miller that won in his first trip to Humberstone, but we got an issue out. Zeke McEwen and Kyle Sopaz spin in 3 and 4, and the yellow flag will fly with 3 laps complete.
Sopaz able to drive away. We had a chance to talk to the drivers and ask them, what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen at the racetrack?
3 cars on top of each other, piled up just like a wreck. It's fun watching trying to unfold that mess.
A car hitting the pace truck. I seen that last year, and the guy got black flagged for it, the leader. I don't know what he was thinking. He drove right in the back of the pace truck. That was kind of funny.
I'll use a Cornwall experience for me. Coming out of turn 4, there's a big wreck. I was running 6. I got turned around backwards coming to a checkered flag and threw it in reverse and drove up the back straightaway backwards in a street stock and ended up 2nd in the feature.
We were on the hauler watching the fireworks, and this guy come down pit road on a motorcycle with nothing on other than a American flag wrapped around his neck like a cape, and he made about 3 or 4 laps on the racetrack till they finally got him down and got him out of there.
It had to have been the finish at Black Rock, last year's series race, when Dale Caswell came from like 4th on the last lap and won it. How cars were braking, and never seen anything like it.
Black Rock, I went from 4th and 1 in 3/4 of a lap. You know, the 2 liters broke, and then I passed the guy who was third in turn 4, and I managed to win.
I remember that. That was a wild finish there, and I have a feeling we might be looking at one here today. Adam Turner, remember, he is back in the lead. This is like a lot of series. Unless everybody completes the lap, that pass doesn't happen, so they go back to the last complete lap, and that's why Adam Turner's in the lead. And everybody behind him, that's that Delaware start we talked about, Rich.
Yeah, so Rick Miller, the driver that goes back to second, elects the outside lane. Now, he's the only driver that gets that lane choice. After that point, you can't decide what lane you're going to be in. But that's critical for Miller. He started on the outside of row 2 on the original start and had that lead, at least for the moment, as they go back underway.
And he's hoping pretty much that might just repeat and happen again as we go back to green. 4 laps complete in this 35-lap feature at Cornwall Motor Speedway. Brian Knowles in the 7. He's up to third, or is he? Here comes Caswell to the bottom.
Well, you spoke earlier how Caswell loves to run the inside of any racetrack. He's got it locked down there, and I'll tell you what, if the top ever gave up, he might be a factor. But how about Rick Miller? He's got something on the top of the speedway right now.
Looked almost like a replay, at least on the front stretch there. Miller on the outside, but Adam Turner, remember, he knows this place well. Ran a modified here for many years. He's going to watch this track change, might have something for him.
You know, Miller, this kind of flashes back to last year about this time when Rick Miller won the season opener at the Humberstone Speedway in his first trip to that racetrack. He was making the top work better than anyone else. A couple of yellow and black cars duking it out, though, for 6th. That's a good battle on the racetrack.
Yeah, and you can see Phil Potts, he's in that 29. Here's 8th place. Johnny Hill is down on the inside in the 160. Shane Tenase is in the 98. And here comes Potts again, gaining on Knowles.
And again, this is for 6th. Potsy started back in 12th place after not running too well in the heat race, getting caught up in some other people's messes. So for him to get up 6 spots here in the opening 7 laps, now working lap number 8, pretty impressive for the driver out of Frankfort, Ontario.
As was that outside move that he made as well. Just drove right around him. You can see the battle is shaping up back behind him. Johnny Hill and Shane Tenase still going at it. Johnny Hill, he's in that 160. Shane Tenase, the 98, works the high side.
Johnny Hill hasn't had the best of seasons. We got an issue, though, the 77 of Kelly Weiss. Around in turn number 4, second yellow on the Speedway here in the feature event. Tough break for Weiss, one of the Tour regulars that has done a nice job in the opening event. She had top 10s in both of those shows. Going to have to do some work to get a third one in a row.
We'll be right back with more action here on the Atomic Power Racing Hour as we are north of the border at the Cornwall Motor Speedway. You're watching the Go Nuclear Late Models. Back here on the Atomic Power Racing Hour at the Cornwall Motor Speedway, up north of the border in Ontario, Canada. Doug Elkins, Rich Fleck in the booth. Paul Small is out in the pit area. Let's take a look at how we got to where we are right now, Rich.
With 2 cautions and 8 laps home, some of the drivers have been able to rebunch and go back after it. A few of these guys are up 5-6 spots in the opening laps, and you look at the lane choice here by Adam Turner down on the bottom, that 92 in second place, selecting the inside row. He's been working well down there. We'll see if it pays off for him, because Dale Caswell's on the outside as we go back to green.
Which is not where he likes to be traditionally, but you have to wonder, the 92 of Turner started up front the last time. Maybe he learned something there, and here he goes to the inside of Rick Miller.
Perhaps a wise choice, and you see that little bit of a cushion in the middle of the racetrack. Yes, Miller's pounding the true cushion up on the top, but at least off of turn number 4, looks like Turner can run through the middle of the track and lean his right rear on something.
Yeah, and remember, Paul Small showed us that cushion a little bit earlier. It's not very even up there, so sometimes you hit it, it helps you, other times it doesn't. There's Phil Potts, the 29. He's running in 5th, and the Knowles boys are right behind him.
Yeah, you got Brian in 6th in the 7, Jason in 7th in the 4, and this looks like heat race number 2 all over again, except they're a few spots behind. But they got a lot of more laps left to go.
Yeah, he's going to try that bottom one more time. As you can see, Phil Potts racing ahead. There's the margin from first to second. You can see Turner still trying to work the outside, the inside. But that outside group, I think, is getting wider and wider. Might be slowing Rick Miller down a little bit.
Adam Turner, again, pounding down on the bottom of the speedway. Neither driver has a win even at their local tracks this season, so it would be their first checkered flag. Some of the drivers behind them have a multitude of them. So out in front right now, they got to be careful battling each other, not to let others reel in.
But how about Adam Turner? Sticks like glue off the bottom of turn number 2, and he's got the lead back, at least for the moment.
You can see that thing, that left rear just driving underneath the car. He is getting all the bite and all the power out of that GM crate engine he can possibly get at this point. And boy, it sounds good off the bottom, pulling away a little bit from Rick Miller.
We've seen in prior shows with our Tech Minute about how these rear ends are actually moving inside. It's not just an illusion with the bodies. They are moving forward and helping them steer through the corner. And that's what we're seeing right now out of Turner. Also working on the bottom is Dale Caswell. He and point leader Charlie Sandercock duke it out for third.
Yeah, and of course, Caswell sliding up just a little bit here. Not sure if he was throwing the block there or maybe just trying to see if there might be some better bite up at the high side. Because even though you're a bottom feeder like Dale Caswell, no, he's actually moved up the track a little bit right now. It's going to see what that outside groove looks like. It seems, anyway.
You can't stick to the same groove all the time at every racetrack. At certain places, you know it's comfortable for you. As the lap car of Brian Down slows up Turner a little bit off at turn number 2.
You can see Turner going to have a little problem here. He's right where that slower car is. Oh, and here comes Rick Miller right up to his back bumper.
Rick Miller right back in on it. Just as Turner had built an over 1 second lead, Miller's right there, but now he's got to get by the 88B of Down as well.
I guess he thought he might be able to sneak underneath a little bit there, and now Down goes up the racetrack, and that gives Dale Caswell a chance now. He's about as close to Rick Miller as he's been maybe in about 10 laps or so.
Well, Doug, we saw this in our opening series opener at the Utica Rome Speedway, how lap traffic can be such a critical issue for determining the winner. And right now, 3rd, 4th, and 5th all jumbled up. Phil Potts up to 4th place after starting, again, on the outside of row number 6. He's up 8 positions and continues to go after more spots.
Yeah, there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're seeing all of them right in the picture right there. And, of course, that's good news for Adam Turner because he's out front. He was able to get through. And look at this move on the inside. Nice pass there by Phil Potts.
Pottsy up to 3rd. Picked up a win at the Can-Am Speedway. We got an issue, though. Zeke McEwen, Johnny Hill around in turn number 3. Also, Justin Waters working his way through the infield. Yellow out for the 3rd time.
Yeah, there was a 3rd car involved. I saw another car drive away there, but McEwen, he's the one. Remember, he was involved in that heat crash. Actually got all 4 wheels off the... Oh, and the Dustin Waters may have been the other car that was involved. I knew I saw somebody else driving away there.
Yeah, and Waters was probably just out there trying to make some laps, but had an issue.
And, of course, these guys can make changes inside these cars. Our Paul Small did something earlier to talk about what they can do.
Last time in our Tech Minute, we told you what was going on inside the rear ends of one of these Go Nuclear late models. Tonight, we want to talk about an adjustment that the drivers can make in the cockpit to affect the car's handling while it's on the racetrack. Now, some late model divisions allow what's called a weight checker. That allows you to move weight bias in the car forward, backward, left to right. That's illegal in the Go Nuclear late model series. So what can a driver do? Well, inside the cockpit, in addition to your usual array of gauges, switches, fuel switch, and so on, there's this switch right here. This is actually a brake bias adjustment. That controls what percentage of the car is slowed down by the front brakes or the rear brakes. You can dial front brake into the car, or you can take front brake out and put the bias more heavily on the rear of the car. Either way, during the race, by adjusting the brake bias, it affects the handling of the race car, and sometimes if you can get that adjustment right as the track changes during a race, you have a better shot at getting to victory lane.
Of course, not something you can do, Rich, necessarily under green flag laps. A lot of times that's the best to do under yellow as we look at the white flag, getting ready to go back to racing.
And again, this racetrack hasn't changed a whole lot. However, some of the drivers may not have had their setup correct, and that could be the real critical issue. A lot of times in some races, you see a driver, they'll go and say, hey, the bottom's starting to come in as the race goes along. We really haven't seen that. Taking a look at our Atomic Chassis running order, Rick Miller runs in 2nd. Sean Beardsley and Shane Tenase, the other 2 Atomic Chassis, also in the top 10. So good run going for that chassis builder.
And, of course, here we are back to green flag racing. Just 14 laps to go. Still a lot to happen here at Cornwall. Adam Turner out front, and Rick Miller goes right back up to the number 2 spot.
And he goes right back to the top of the speedway as well. How about Phil Potts, though? He and Charlie Sandercock duking it out. Sandercock takes 3rd away. So the current points leader on the move at a track that he's been at before in other races, but Potts goes back at him on the bottom. I think the bottom of turn number 2 really the spot to be.
Yeah, we've seen several drivers make that move coming out of turn number 2. You can see Sandercock, I think he's a little bit better coming out of turn number 4. Oh, you couldn't fit the Sunday paper between them as they went down the front stretch.
I've seen that a lot of times with sprint cars or a modified. You go over that banking, and Sandercock has fallen back now to the 12th places. Brett Belden able to get by, and tough break for him, not just in terms of winning tonight, but for points as well.
11 laps to go. There's the margin from 1st to 2nd. Adam Turner kind of just racing the track right now, trying to run that line, and pretty much the same line that we saw Phil Potts running as he was making up some spots there.
And you wonder what sort of nerves are starting to
build in for the number 92. In 2012, he bought a late model, finished second in one of the first times he was ever out with the Tour, and then second later in the year, and since then has not been in the top 5 in a Tour race. So are those butterflies starting to work through his stomach a little bit as Rapid Rick starts to build up the momentum on the outside of the racetrack?
And of course, like you said earlier, neither of these guys have won a race yet this year, so this is the time of the year you start to think about that a little more, and you maybe push a little more trying to make sure to get that first one.
Yeah, it has not been a good year for Miller, but it could turn around tonight. Up on the outside of the racetrack, car pushes a little bit up on that cushion. We've talked about it all race long, how that cushion is not smooth. It's not something easy to hang the right rear on, but if you hit it right, you could go right to victory lane.
All right, so here we go. Turner still down on the inside. Rick Miller trying to work the top side of the speedway. Again, we see that groove getting wider and wider, but he's had some good runs coming off of that fourth corner. 6 left to go.
And you can hear on the onboard how Turner gets off that throttle so much and knows he has to get down to the bottom. That bottom groove may be giving up more than the top is, and Miller's got an issue.
Oh, he slows over in turn number 4. We'll see if he's able to clear the racetrack. Doesn't look like he will, and the yellow flag is out. Oh, what a tough break for Rick Miller.
Yeah, tough 2014 continues for Rapid Rick up at Utica. He was in the top 5 late in the race and broke at the Humberstone Speedway, got spun around, able to manage a 9th place run, but for the driver that was runner-up in the championship standings last year, stopped in turn number 1.
We just have a few laps to go. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the exciting conclusion from Cornwall Motor Speedway.
If you're enjoying these late models on the Atomic Power Racing Hour, you need to be there in person. The Go Nuclear Late Model Challenge Series is coming to a track near you with all the dirt-flinging, side-by-side racing, and bumper-to-bumper action that you can handle. Come see the cars and stars of the Atomic Power Racing Hour as they battle for bragging rights. The series is coming to a track near you, so don't miss out on your best opportunity to experience what all the hype's about. Catch the series at Brighton Speedway for the Great Crate Race.
If you care about quality, service, or pride of ownership, it's time to call Tanachi AV. Tanachi AV provides music and theater systems for the home that defy expectations and are a clear cut above those found in the mass market stores, including handcrafted opera loudspeakers, Unison research amplification from Italy, Integra home theater, and many more. Discover the difference at TanachiAV.com or visit us on Facebook.
Planning a trip to Victory Lane? Let Atomic Chassis get you there. Atomic Chassis are built with a high attention to detail using superior parts from trusted manufacturers such as BPM, Winters, Bernheisel, Bilstein, All-Star Performance, Vulcan, and many more. With superior craftsmanship and materials, you know Atomic will last. And since each customer becomes a part of our family, you aren't treated like just another number. So visit AtomicChassis.com today to plan your next trip to Victory Lane. Welcome back to the Atomic Power Racing Hour. We are north of the border in the Cornwall Motor Speedway in Ontario, Canada. Just a few laps from the end. Doug Elkins, Rich Fleck back up here in the tower. Paul Small wandering around watching the end of what has been a very exciting race to this point, Rich.
It certainly has. What a tough break for Rick Miller. Had the lead on multiple occasions. Looked like he was about to get the lead back, and now is back in the pit area hearing a battery issue on the 33X. So a few other dance partners right behind Adam Turner. Phil Potts, who started in 12th, and Dale Caswell. All 3 drivers looking for their first Tour win of the season. And in the case of Potts and Turner, first Tour win ever. Potts on the outside. He'll take second away.
And meanwhile, Turner drives away. Just 5 laps left to go. There have been 2 grooves of racing. We'll see what Turner chooses. He's pretty much riding right through the middle as we watch the battle for 4th.
Only a minute of racing left to be done, so not a lot of time to make it work. As Jason Knowles goes up the racetrack a little bit, contact with Shane Tenace as they duke it out, working for the 4th position.
And you see the damage there on the left front of the 98 of Shane Tenace. Hopefully for him, it's just cosmetic. As down to the inside, Brian Knowles will challenge him next. There's your leaders with 3 laps to go.
Boy, Potts has reeled him right in. That top side continues to work. Phil Potts, again, won Friday night at the Can-Am Speedway. He's right there for the race lead, trying to win 2 times in this weekend.
Got a little high that time coming out of turn number 2, but got a good run. Remember, it's a little tackier on the outside part of the speedway. They're hitting 3 and 4. They'll see the white flag this time.
And he pushes up over the berm, and Turner will drive away with the white flag out. Phil Potts knew he had to hang it all on the edge with the cautions out.
Oh, Jason Knowles around in turn number 2 brings out the yellow. That's the last thing Adam Turner wanted to see.
Adam Turner probably didn't know it, but he had it in the bag as Phil Potts had gone over the berm, and fourth place running Jason Knowles comes around in turn number 2. You saw the onboard, so we'll have a replay for you in just a moment. Remember, he was battling with Shane Tenace for that number 4 spot, both of them looking for their best finishes of the season on tour. And
couldn't tell much there. I don't know if maybe they had a little contact, but not good when you're looking at the inside of the racetrack.
Now, this was a few laps ago. We talked about the contact that Knowles and Tenace had, and you have to wonder maybe just Knowles kept it pinched down, knowing that his 4 was drifting up. He's gone to the back, and what we have now is the old green and white checkered finish, which means 1 lap of racing left to be done.
Yeah, when they say green, white checkered, it's green, then they come around white, then they get checkered. That's the more traditional finish, but with this, it's going to be 35 laps, so the green and white will come out together, and it'll be a 1-lap dash for the win.
And one last chance for Phil Potts. Again, both Potts and Turner have never won a tour race, so will we see a third different winner in as many races this season? Back underway, and a good start for Turner into 1.
And I was going to say, don't count out Dale Caswell, but Potts got the better start that time as Tenace and Knowles redo their battle for 4th. Here they go down the backstretch for the final time.
And up on the top, Potts sticks it in there. Turner through the middle, off the corner. Back at the line, Potts gets it.
.011 is what the transponders say as they come across the line. What an exciting finish. Phil Potts makes it work on the outside.
I'm not even sure he knows yet right now. And they've told him over the one-way radio, Phil Potts from 12th to the win, like you said, by 1/100th of a second. Thank God for transponders.
Let's take a look at this again as we watch at 3 and 4. Talk about a bonsai move on the top. That's what Phil Potts does right here. And at the line, you can see the margin. Oh, under a foot at the line. Oh, Phil Potts gets the win. What a finish. We'll be back to talk to him and analyze this race. You're watching the Atomic Power Racing Hour.
If you're enjoying these late models on the Atomic Power Racing Hour, you need to be there in person. The Go Nuclear Late Model Challenge Series is coming to a track near you with all the dirt-flinging, side-by-side racing, and bumper-to-bumper action that you can handle. Come see the cars and stars of the Atomic Power Racing Hour as they battle for bragging rights. The series is coming to a track near you, so don't miss out on your best opportunity to experience what all the hype's about. Catch the series in Mohawk for the Richard Tenace Memorial.
Electricity. You flip a switch, the lights go on. But will we have safe supplies of electricity to meet our fast-growing needs? Today, nuclear energy provides 1/5 of America's electricity. Tomorrow, it could supply even more. And nuclear power plants don't emit greenhouse gases, so they preserve our environment. We need to reduce our dependence on foreign energy. And we also need clean air. With nuclear energy, we can do both. Nuclear, putting clean air energy to work.
If you want to get closer to the racing action, your chance is coming. It's the first ever Atomic Triple Crown, bringing late model sprints and sportsmen together. September 27th at Rolling Wheels Raceway. The Go Nuclear late models compete on the fast track for the first time ever, gunning for the $2,000 top prize, along with super tight sportsman action. And the Empire Super Sprints will crown their 2014 series champion. Late models, sprints, and sportsmen, all together for one night this fall. See you at Rolling Wheels.
Welcome back to the Atomic Power Racing Hour here at the Cornwall Motor Speedway in Ontario. What a finish we just saw here, Rich Fleck.
The top had been good all night long, and we had seen some drivers lead on the top of the racetrack, and it worked. And they always talk about, well, leading at the line's not important until the final lap, but you know you can do it. And Potts did it there. The only time he led was that final 3 feet before the start-finish line.
And the math tells us that that's about a foot, but I don't know, Rich. That looked like an inch or two at the most for the margin to victory lane. Phil Potts is excited, and he is down trackside with our Paul Small.
Wild finish here tonight at Cornwall Motor Speedway. 1/1000th of a second, the margin of victory. You had to be thinking there with a couple to go when you threw it off the outside of turn 4. Geez, I lost.
That's right. I was going that. We got hopefully a second, and because I expected to be free train. I was off there so far. I was coming for the wall, but luck has it we were okay. Just better luck than management on that call.
And you went to the outside in 1 and 2 on the last lap, but it looked like the car was better in 3 and 4. That seemed to be the difference.
Yeah, 3 and 4 was better for me. 1 and 2 is a lot slicker going in, so 3 and 4 I just drove wide open in and hoped for the best.
What was your reaction when they told you over the one-way that you had won?
Oh, ecstatic. This is only my second time ever winning away from Brighton. So we won Friday night in Can-Am, and then tonight now, first time ever I've won away from home. So yeah, I don't know, can't get any better than this, to be honest. Best high in the world.
That's your race winner here tonight, Phil Potts in Cornwall.
Let's find out how Phil did it. Here's the start of the race here at Cornwall.
And it was Adam Turner out in front, and he would be either in the discussion for the lead or the leader all the way through. But boy, a couple drivers took some cracks at him, including Rick Miller on lap number 5.
And you could see early on here, the outside was pretty good. That's where most of the guys made their passes. Let's flash forward ahead. Turner, though, takes the lead back here for a while.
You know, Ron Morin and the crew, former owner of the Cornwall Motor Speedway, did an awesome job at preparing this racetrack. It was the first feature out tonight, and you can't ask for more than two even racing groups. There was never a point where, you know what, the bottom's where you have to be or the top's where you have to be. It kept drivers kind of on their toes throughout the whole race.
And Phil Potts, of course, before he could get to battle for the lead, he had to get up to third. And there's the move. Not many people passed Dale Caswell on the bottom.
Yeah, he would take third, and it would become a second place position after Rick Miller fell out. So that was a big deal. But before Rick Miller fell out, it would be Charlie Sandercock falling to the back as he would go over the berm back to 12th. He would rebound to get back to 6th, but his chances at winning were done.
Now here it looked like these were the two guys that were going to battle for the lead. Rick Miller was going to the high side, seemed to have it working up pretty well up there, Rich.
You know, it's just a matter of hitting his marks each time and getting by. Well, Adam Turner had to be steady on the bottom, and boy, was he ever until the final corner. But at least at this point, had things going his way. Miller, this is where the battery had a little bit of an issue.
Yep, right then we kind of figured, okay, does anybody else have anything to challenge? Phil Potts, here he comes. He thinks he's lost it here, but no.
No, he went over the berm, coming to the white flag, and, you know, not quite what Adam Turner would have hoped for. At the same time that was going on, Jason Knowles spun around while running in fourth, set up that one-lap dash to the finish. Turner was good through 1 and 2, but Potts threw everything at it in 3 and 4.
And I wonder if that lap before that he went off a little high might have helped him here run a better line off of turn number 4. Let's hear from Adam Turner.
Adam Turner, you led most of this race on the bottom, and I thought everybody would go to the top, and it wound up being the top that was your undoing on that last restart.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, second's good, but 1/1000ths, they said, like that sucks. Like, it was an awesome finish for us because we struggled, but to give it up like that, I guess my dad said Potsy blew it off the restart just before that. So, I don't know. It's bittersweet second. I'll take it any day of the week, but today it feels a little sour, but tomorrow it'll be good. I'm sure of it.
That's Adam Turner, your runner-up finisher here in a thriller at Cornwall.
Let's take a look at that final order. Phil Potts, Adam Turner, 1 and 2. Good run for Dale Caswell coming home third.
Yeah, Caswell, you know, another solid points night. Charlie Sandercock salvaged something in his points battle as well. Good runs by Brian Knowles and Shane Tenace, 4th and 5th across the line. You know, for drivers that Tenace made a long tow to get here, but Brian Knowles came in the day before to run this event. So that
Sandercock moved out of the way there at one point, ended up getting back up to 6th. Kaylee Weiss had her troubles over the course of the day, but still gets a top 8 finish out of this.
And it's been like that for her all year long, 9th, 10th, and 8th in the series races.
Brett Belden, top 10 for him. He's got to feel good. He's starting to knock off some consistent top 10s on the series. McEwen there, he had a tough day. I'm sure they'll have some work to do back at the shop, but he gets a nice run out of it.
And these were the drivers that had an issue just finishing. Greg Bellier, we didn't talk about him really at all in the feature, but he was in the top 5 late in the going until a mechanical issue sent him pit side, just like some of the other drivers behind him in Waters and LaFrance.
Let's hear from our third place runner.
Oh, the 88 car has shown the battle scars here tonight, but Dale Caswell, you're bringing home third. That wasn't so much a race back where you were as it was a war.
Oh, man, it was great watching those guys. You know, during that heat race and, you know, when that impact, we lost something in the fuel, you know, so we've been battling a fuel issue, and I couldn't keep my pressure up. So, you know, we did what we could, and on those restarts when I was on the bottom, it was a little tough. You know, I had to get to the outside so I could keep the RPMs up and, you know, keep the fuel pressure up. So, but, man, what a race between those two.
Yeah, you had the best seat in the house to watch that one.
Yeah, you know, I've had crazier stuff happen. I was waiting for something, you know, those two to get racing really hard, and, you know, something happened, and I'd just squeak on by. So
didn't happen for Dale Caswell tonight, but in the big picture, third place, good for the overall points.
And you can see exactly what we talked about on the points, down to 27 now between Sandercock and Caswell.
And again, they're going to get to drop a race before the season's over, so it will tighten up. But there's the defending two-time champion that's going to have some work to do to chase down Charlie Sandercock Well, guys like Rick Miller, another bad luck night. He's back outside of the top 8 in the standings.
Here's our next 3 races: Can-Am in September, Rolling Wheels in October, and High Banks of the Fulton Speedway in November. Love the podiums, by the way. They do it right up here in Canada. For Rich Fleck, Paul Small, I'm Doug Elkins. What a night it was here at Cornwall Motor Speedway.